You're surrounded by noise all day, television, phone calls, news. But when was the last time you truly heard yourself? The constant notifications, the background television, the endless opinions demanding our attention. In the twilight of our lives, when we should be experiencing the deepest peace and clarity, many of us find ourselves more mentally cluttered than ever before. What if I told you that the most powerful tool for reclaiming your mental space, emotional balance, and spiritual depth has been with you all along, but modern society has trained you to avoid it at all costs? In a time of life meant for peace and reflection, many of us feel more mentally cluttered than ever before. But what if the most powerful way to reclaim clarity, calm, and connection has been with us all along, hidden not in what we say, but in what we don't? I'm Vernon, and at 67, I've discovered that silence isn't just golden, it's transformational. It has restored my mental focus, healed emotional wounds, deepened my relationships, and given me a sense of spiritual purpose I never expected in this season of life. In this video, I'll share with you 5 life-changing reasons why silence becomes more powerful, not less, as we age. Each one is grounded in timeless wisdom and modern science, and I promise, by reason number 4, you may begin to understand something about your relationships that could change everything. If you found the video helpful, please subscribe to my channel and share this video to help others discover these insights. So find a quiet space, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey inward together. As we grow older, our minds often juggle thoughts, memories, and life demands. It's easy to feel mentally cluttered, but silence offers a way to slow down and regain focus. In our older years, our brains process information differently. Research from Stanford Center on Longevity shows that seniors struggle not with memory itself, but with filtering out irrelevant information. Our mental filing system gets overloaded, making focus difficult. Plato wisely stated, "The empty vessel makes the loudest sound." This applies perfectly to our minds after decades of filling them with information, opinions, and experiences. Without regular emptying, the noise becomes deafening. My friend Eleanor, a retired professor of literature at 72, discovered this truth when her normally sharp mind began to feel clouded. Despite being physically healthy, she found herself increasingly forgetful and unable to concentrate on her beloved books. Rather than immediately assuming age-related decline, Eleanor experimented with a practice from Japanese philosophy called ma, the intentional creation of empty space. She began spending the first 30 minutes of each morning in complete silence. No radio, no reading, no conversation, just sitting with her tea, observing her garden, and allowing her mind to settle. Within 3 weeks, Eleanor reported that her mental clarity had returned, not to mention her joy in reading complex texts. She'd been trying to hear a beautiful symphony while standing in the middle of a construction site. When we practice silence, our brain's default mode network, responsible for memory consolidation and making connections, finally gets space to work. For those of us with decades of life experience, this means our accumulated wisdom can synthesize in new, meaningful ways. What mental clutter do you most wish to clear? What thoughts or worries seem to circle in your mind without resolution? Try starting with just 10 minutes of complete silence daily. Not meditation, not prayer, just silence. Observe what arises and passes in your awareness without judgment. You'll likely find, as I did at 62, that mental fog begins to lift, revealing a clarity that's been waiting beneath the noise. Beyond mental clarity lies another transformative power of silence, the ability to process emotions deeply and cultivate true wisdom. One of life's cruel ironies is that just when we've accumulated enough experience to have profound emotional insights, we often have less capacity to process them. By our 50s and beyond, many of us have experienced tremendous joys, devastating losses, complex relationships, and decades of both triumph and disappointment. Research from Harvard's aging studies shows that unprocessed emotions contribute significantly to stress-related illnesses in seniors. In our culture of constant distraction, we rarely give ourselves permission to feel deeply. In our later years, silence helps us reclaim this wasted time by allowing us to finally digest our experiences fully. My sister Catherine lost her husband of 40 years. Well-meaning friends and family surrounded her with activity, conversation, and distraction, all attempts to help her move on from her grief. But Catherine intuitively knew she needed something different. She told me that she needed silence to hear him, not his physical voice, but everything our life together taught her. Against the advice of friends who worried she was isolating herself, Catherine began taking solitary walks in nature 3 times weekly. No podcasts, no phone calls, just the sounds of the natural world and the space to feel her grief fully. In the silence, she shared months later, she discovered that grief isn't just sadness. It's also gratitude, love that continues, and wisdom about what truly matters. She couldn't hear any of that in the noise of well-intentioned advice and distraction. This emotional processing isn't just about past experiences. It's about developing the emotional intelligence to navigate our current challenges with greater wisdom. And as research in positive aging shows, emotional wisdom becomes our greatest strength as cognitive abilities naturally change. What emotional experience in your life still needs space for processing? How might silence help you transform this into wisdom? Share your thoughts in the comment. Try what I call emotional listening. 10 minutes daily, where you simply ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Don't analyze or judge. Just notice. This simple practice develops the emotional awareness that forms the foundation of wisdom. As our mental clarity sharpens and emotional wisdom deepens through silence, many seniors discover something even more profound: a strengthened spiritual connection and renewed sense of purpose. My colleague Robert, a retired business executive, confided in me at 70 that despite his professional success, he felt a profound emptiness. He achieved everything he set out to do, but he is not sure any of it mattered. At the suggestion of his grandson, Robert reluctantly attended a weekend silent retreat, initially uncomfortable with the lack of distraction. By the second day, something shifted. Robert later told me he finally heard what he'd been avoiding for decades: the question of what his life was for, beyond achievement and accumulation. And surprisingly, answers began to emerge as well. In the months following, Robert began volunteering at a mentorship program for disadvantaged youth, sharing his business expertise. He found his purpose not in doing more, but at first becoming still enough to hear what was being asked of him at this stage of life. A landmark study in the Journal of Aging Studies found that spiritual connection becomes increasingly important after 65, with 85% of participants reporting it as essential to their well-being, regardless of their religious background. As we enter our later years, questions of meaning, legacy, and spiritual connection often become more pressing. According to research, adults over 65 report spirituality as increasingly important in their lives, regardless of their formal religious affiliation. The 13th century mystic Meister Eckhart observed, "Nothing in all creation is so like God as silence." Across spiritual traditions, silence has been understood as the doorway to transcendence, a direct experience of something greater than ourselves. Have you ever experienced a moment of silence that felt spiritually meaningful? When was the last time you felt truly connected to something larger than yourself? To incorporate this dimension of silence, consider spending 15 minutes daily asking a single question like, "What matters most?" or "How am I being called to serve?" Then sit in complete silence, not forcing answers but allowing them to arise naturally. And while this spiritual connection deepens our relationship with ourselves and something greater, what comes next might surprise you even more. How silence transforms our connections with the people we love most. As we'll explore in a moment, the practice of silence doesn't just change our inner world. It revolutionizes how we relate to others in ways that may finally solve relationship challenges you've faced for decades. Perhaps the most surprising transformation that silence offers seniors comes in the realm of relationships, where the simple act of mindful listening can create profound connections. The Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu wisely noted, "Silence is a source of great strength." Nowhere is this more evident than in our relationships, where the strength to remain silent often serves connection better than the strength to speak persuasively. After 60+ years of expressing ourselves, many of us have developed what psychologists call conversational narcissism, the habit of steering every discussion toward our own experiences and viewpoints. This unconscious pattern damages our relationships without our awareness. Following decades of speaking, teaching, and expressing opinions, many of us have developed a habit of waiting to speak rather than truly listening. This becomes particularly problematic as we age and risk becoming perceived as the older person who always dominates conversation with stories of the good old days or unsolicited advice. At 63, I received feedback that changed everything. My daughter gently told me that family gatherings had become uncomfortable because I dominated every conversation. She said sometimes it feels like I am so busy sharing my wisdom that she never gets to hear ours. Her words stung but rang true. I had become someone who spoke to people rather than with them. I committed to a practice from mindfulness traditions. In conversations, I would speak only after taking 3 conscious breaths following the other person's statement. This tiny space of silence allowed me to actually hear what was being said rather than simply preparing my response. Within months, something remarkable happened. My relationships deepened, not just with family but with friends and even casual acquaintances. People began sharing thoughts and feelings they'd never expressed before. I discovered that my wife of 40 years had dreams and fears I'd never known about, simply because I'd never created the silence necessary to hear them. A study from the University of California found that older adults who practiced mindful listening reported 60% greater relationship satisfaction across all relationships, from spouses to grandchildren to new acquaintances. To develop this practice, try what therapists call reflective listening. After someone speaks, briefly summarize what you heard before, responding with your own thoughts. This creates a natural pause that honors their contribution while ensuring you've truly understood. In your important relationships, do you truly listen, or are you simply waiting for your turn to speak? How might the practice of silence transform these connections? Share your experience in the comments to help others discover these insights. Our journey through the powers of silence culminates with perhaps its most scientifically validated benefit: physiological healing and stress reduction. My friend Thomas, at 74, was struggling with hypertension despite medication and dietary changes. His doctor, familiar with research on contemplative practices, suggested a daily silence break, 20 minutes of sitting quietly, focusing only on his breathing. Though skeptical, Thomas tried it. Within 6 weeks, His blood pressure readings had improved enough that his doctor reduced his medication. He said he could feel the difference in his body. It's as if the noise itself was keeping his system on high alert. Research published in the journal Neurology found that seniors who practiced daily silence showed measurable improvements in immune function, with 37% fewer inflammatory markers compared to those who didn't. For our aging bodies, this is significant medicine. The aging body faces numerous challenges: inflammation, cardiovascular changes, immune system modifications, and more. While medical interventions are often necessary, research suggests that regular periods of silence can support physical health in surprising ways. Hippocrates observed over 2,000 years ago, healing is a matter of time, but it is sometimes also a matter of opportunity. Silence creates that opportunity for our body's natural healing processes. Research published in the journal Heart found that just 2 minutes of silence can be more relaxing than listening to relaxing music, based on blood pressure measurements and brain circulation. Other studies show that regular silence reduces stress hormones and improves immune function. What physical symptoms in your body might be exacerbated by constant noise and stimulation? Which health challenge are you currently facing that might benefit from stress reduction through silence? The practice is simple. Twice daily, preferably mid-morning and early evening, sit in a comfortable position in a quiet place. For 10 minutes, do nothing. No music, no guided meditation, no mantra. Just be present with the natural silence of your body and breath. Notice the sensations of your body relaxing. Having explored the transformative benefits of silence, from mental clarity and emotional wisdom to spiritual purpose, deeper relationships, and physical restoration, let's discuss practical ways to incorporate it into daily life, along with strategies for overcoming common challenges. Here are 5 approaches that have worked well for seniors I've counseled. Begin with a morning sanctuary. Rise 30 minutes before your usual time and sit in silence before engaging with the day's activities. This frames your entire day with clarity and intention. Many seniors struggle with sleep issues, making early rising difficult. If early morning doesn't work, identify another consistent time when you're naturally alert and your environment can be controlled for quiet. Embrace the nature silence walk. Take a weekly walk in natural surroundings without technological devices. The combination of gentle movement, natural sounds, and freedom from human-generated noise creates a unique form of restorative silence. Even sitting on a balcony, in a garden, or near an open window can provide connection with natural sounds. The key is removing artificial noise sources. Consider a regular media fast. Designate 1 day per month as a complete media fast. No news, social media, television, or radio. Many report this practice as revelatory in showing how much background noise affects their mental state. Some seniors have a fear of missing important news or family communications. Let close contacts know in advance about your media-free day, and consider keeping one communication channel open for true emergencies only. Practice the conversation pause. Implement the 3-breath pause in conversations we discussed earlier. This transforms not just your own experience, but the quality of all your interactions. Start with one-on-one conversations with understanding friends or family before trying this in group settings. End with an evening review. Before sleep, sit in silence for 10 minutes, reviewing the day without judgment. This practice helps integrate daily experiences into wisdom. However, fatigue at day's end makes focused attention difficult. Try this practice earlier in the evening, perhaps after dinner, but before you become too tired. Which of these practices seems most doable in your current life situation? Through embracing regular periods of silence, we don't become less engaged with life. quite the opposite. We develop the mental clarity, emotional wisdom, spiritual connection, relational depth, and physical resilience to engage more meaningfully. The silence we cultivate creates ripples far beyond our personal experience. When we speak from a place of inner quiet, rather than reactive noise, our words carry greater weight. When we listen from silence rather than mental chatter, we create sacred space for others to be truly heard. As elders in a noisy world starving for wisdom, this practice of silence may be our most valuable gift to future generations. In a culture obsessed with faster and louder, we model the power of slower and quieter. I invite you to join me in this exploration of silence. Start today with just 5 minutes of intentional quiet. Notice what arises, what subsides, and what remains when the noise falls away. Then gradually extend your practice using the methods we've discussed. What single step toward more silence will you take today? Remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Even 1 minute of true silence is powerful medicine for your mind, body, and spirit. If you found value in today's exploration, please share it with others who might benefit. Leave a comment about your own experiences with silence, or questions you'd like addressed in future episodes. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming video.